And apparently we are live on the air. Hello, folks. Welcome back another week. On This Week in Search. I got to come up with a new line, Kristen. It just doesn't work. Another week on This Week, something like
right.
that. I got to work on that. Bad writing. How's everyone doing?
Episode.
How are we all doing, Kristen?
We're good.
Yeah, I'm kind of awake. Kind of.
Kind of awake. Well, it's not bad. It's like, 9 o'clock for you, so that's...
Yeah, but I'm on like Japan hours now.
Christ, you should be on your second job by now.
Yeah.
I started 5 in the morning. By 10,
I didn't go to bed till 5 in the morning. That's my problem. It's becoming a regular thing.
Frank?
What time do the bars close?
Kristen's bar is open 24/7. She just breaks out the wine and, she's good to go.
Yeah, we're out of that. It's probably my problem. How's everyone else?
Good, except, I don't know.
I'm about to submit 10,000 pages in the sitemap to Google on that site I'm building. I wonder how many will actually get crawled in the first week.
32.
Oh, I did something. I read something where people are recommending that you only put your major pages up in your sitemap, which I'm tending to think maybe that's what I'll do. I'll only put up like 100 major category levels and get them crawled regularly, as opposed to putting them all in.
I don't know. Sounds like a good experiment to me.
Test.
Yeah. No. Exactly. I'm also wrapping all of the locations in schema for Google, so that hopefully they'll grab some that way.
Oh boy. Well, I'm having a good start here. Google Chrome is now frozen.
No.
Oh boy. Well, hopefully Terry's here. It won't kill this thing on me if I have to. Because yes, it's saying, would you like to kill this page? Not really. It's only like it's become unresponsive. You can wait for it or kill it. Tried waiting, that didn't work.
Kill it with fire.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you should be able to refresh and come back.
It's funny because your picture's showing up down the bottom.
Yeah. I'm right-clicking though, Chris, and it's not even giving me a choice here. Try Control F5, see what happens.
Yeah.
Your audio's okay.
Yeah, obviously, but nothing else is. It's only Chrome. Why would it work in Chrome? What sense would that make? Yeah, it's not doing anything. Well, hopefully since Terry's here, it'll keep running. I'll be right back. Copy this URL.
Yeah, I found that it may have been a problem before, but as long as there's someone in here, it won't the Hangout won't die. I'll hold on to it.
This is Ken Durant for an FC War for Team I 37 at
In the ball.
That got a little loud.
Western Conference Finals. But for now,
So what's the biggest thing this week in search?
respect to the carries throughout the NBA. His presence is incredible. Picks up and walks off the floor. Perhaps for the final time of his illustrious career.
Nothing. This is nothing.
I've been reading reports of rearrangements of the SERP layout for Google so that there's effectively more room available for page titles to display without the ellipses. I haven't seen that yet. Has anybody else seen it?
I've seen the article.
Yeah.
that they're extending back to what they had in 2014.
Mm-hmm. Same here. I've seen the article, but I haven't seen it actually happen in real life. But you never know.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the black links either.
Yeah, I haven't really paid attention to that. I might miss those. It seems like a bad user experience to me.
Did anyone catch the webmaster hangout with John?
No. What did
I
he?
started watching it. I haven't gone through it yet. I was just curious. It was a good one.
There's too much to read and listen to and watch. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Someone needs to go to that conference in Adelaide next month and get Gary Ilias really drunk. And
But did I read right that it's 5,000 euros?
no, well, that's SEO Oktoberfest. Marcus Chandler does. I did the first 4 of those, and I'm coming back. The last one's next year, so they're bringing back the alumni. It was just it's a lot of fun. You know, the people they come, they pay the 5,000 euros, but you get the conference runs from 10 o'clock till 4 o'clock, and then we hit the tents from 5 till 11, and then some club VIP roped off area. There's like 50 odd people, and they give you part of the 5,000 euros. All the attendees get custom-made lederhosen or drindles. So everyone, you know, you've got a crowd of 50 odd people, and then one of Marcus's business partners is married to a former German playmate. So there's usually about 10 of those that come along, and we videotape it. So people wonder who the hell we are. It's fun. It's a lot of fun, and the speakers are people that know what they're doing. Dave Naylor, the Boses come, Ralph Stegmeister, Yost is there, Bob Rains. It's a good cross section of people that have been doing this for quite a while.
Sounds like fun, but I think I'd rather have the money.
Well, he spends, Marcus gets, so let's say he brings in about, 150,000 euros for the 3 days. He spends a big portion of that on the event. To get 50 people, all the booze and all the food that you can eat at the tents for, 4 hours, that racks up a huge amount. And the tickets just to get in they're about 100 euros each. And, and then they do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Wednesday they have a big barbecue just outside of Munich, and they get anyone from Europe that wants to come can buy tickets to that, and all that money goes to charity. They raise like 50 to 100,000 euros in charity work, so it's kind of cool.
That's cool.
I'm surprised, Eamon, that you haven't gone to that.
I'm guessing it's SC Oktoberfest we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those ones. It really started to get big after I'd made the decision that I wasn't going to be doing any more of the big travel events, because I was just losing too much time.
Yeah, no, I went to the first 4. And it's more getting to hang out with the friends that you've made over the years in the industry. That's why those, the quality of the people that are there and the presentations that they do are really good. There's a lot of, let's call it black hat, but not really. Just, things that are working for people that they're not sharing straight away, that haven't, hit the public yet. So that, people, there's a lot of affiliate marketing companies and that type of, the gaming industry people are the attendees that can afford the money.
Yeah, it's kind of the crowd that used to be going to SES and
Yeah.
Capcom and yeah, I know, but you know, at the end of the day, I used to find that okay, the tips were kind of nice, but I was trading out as many as I was taking in if I was getting any good juicy ones. And for something like SE Oktoberfest, I'm losing a week of time really. It takes my liver that long to recover.
No, that's part of the reason why I stopped. It was like, the brain cells that I was killing was having an impact. I don't have that many left.
I know, you go to too many and you end up on Hangouts just staring at a television screen.
Yeah.
He's not paying any attention at all, is he?
Oh, me?
How you doing, Terry? You feeling better?
Yeah, a lot better.
Good, good. Dave, how are you, sir?
Pardon me?
Dave, hello?
Dave, you there? You're muted.
He's probably still
Yeah,
trying
no,
to get up.
everything's just gone laggy hell on me here, so it's not going well today apparently.
Kids
So
on
we'll
the
kill a few more brain
Xbox.
cells.
That's
No. I don't know what's happening, to be honest.
The
I was on the other
conference,
box, which just got back in the shop. It's not doing well, so yeah.
the conference that I would have liked to have done, but I got invited a lot. It just didn't fit into my schedule when it was running. Was WITS, the Webmasters in the Sun one.
Yeah.
Those were pretty fun by the looks of it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, those really were
Where's that one?
expensive. There were some good tips there, but my goodness, those worked out as expensive.
Yeah. But if you're making use of them, I mean, if you're seriously making use of the insights that you can gain from these smaller ones, the value's there. You can make the money back, but you got to be doing, like side projects that are working affiliate programs, etc. That you gaming or adult or financial services things that you can actually make some serious money at.
Yeah, exactly that. And Webmasters in the Sun really was probably the highest quality tips of any of them from what I heard. But that really was another one where you got a week off work and the expense of the travel, and I always found there was a little bit of flash in the cash that went on, particularly at those as well. Each affiliate trying to spend a bit more than the others to show how much better off they were doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the beauty of, and it still is the beauty of the Oktoberfest one, is you just pay a lump sum, and then the speakers, all that we had to do was pay airfare and accommodation, because we didn't have to buy a meal, anything. Everything else was taken care of from the minute you arrived to when you left, which was kind of nice. It wasn't a matter of flashing cash. It was all just everything was already laid out.
There's my regular partner in crime. Hey, Bill.
Oh, there we go.
He's there somewhere. He's just in the dark. Bill this week has been studying the dark web.
He's now the Black Knight without the K.
There he is. So what stories were we looking at?
Well, considering all the lagging out, my computer dying, I had a bunch of things ready, and now they're not there anymore. So we'll just make up shit until it didn't work this time.
Have you done the AMP yet?
Who's got that echo? Oh, it's Frank.
Me? I can be.
Apparently. That's what it's telling me.
For some reason, your mic always seems to pick up your speakers, Frank. Yeah, have you done accelerated mobile pages? Why are they slow to be taken up?
Yeah, I think we've done it a few times, but again, you know, at this point where it's displaying and, you know, I don't think a lot of people have the need for it. You know, again, if you're the only place, has anyone seen it in the wild outside of Google News? I haven't, so I haven't even heard of it being displayed anywhere else. But you know, I've also got people that are moving from, you know, one cart to another, or they're doing, you know, a new redevelopment of their WordPress. I got another guy going from Joomla to WordPress. So in these kind of situations, why not? You know, I mean, I'm advising and I'm telling them go for it because, you know, it's going to get broader implementation or so fuck it. If you're already there and you're doing stuff, sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean, the
On the
reason
flip side, I've still got
is-
e-commerce people I'm trying to get over to HTTPS, so I'll get to AMP later. You know.
I think it's one of those ones where Google came up with a solution that nobody really had a problem for. And it does seem that Google are pushing IMP without there actually being much market demand for it. You know, I didn't notice anyone saying, oh, we need a special limited form of code that produces our pages a bit faster. I can see the advantage to Google, but at the moment, it really doesn't do that much for a lot of the companies I deal with. Certainly none of the e-commerce ones.
Yeah.
My understanding of it is that it basically is a redirect to, you know, not like sort of like responsive, but it's a separate redirect that doesn't, you know, isn't feeding off of your existing website. That you're actually creating these standalone pages that you do like a canonical type thing that points to them. So it seems like there may be a little bit of work involved.
Yeah, I mean, the big hang-up for people is that you can't have iframes. And considering how much advertising is done through iframes, how many video embeds there are these days, yeah, that's a serious limitation for an awful lot of people. No forms, you know. Okay, you've now got my pages out there very, very fast, but without the monetization, without the ability to capture leads, and without half of the video content I was producing. Good job, Google.
Well, there is technically a small advantage to the end user in the sense that mobile-wise AMP pages don't kill your bandwidth. Like, so people have roaming charges and this and that, you know what I mean, if they're watching a lot of YouTube or whatever. AMP pages at least do have a lower cost on that end, so that's about it.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's you know, there would be an advantage to the end user in New York Times and the London Times being given away free to everybody. But unfortunately, that wouldn't be a benefit to the publisher, who would swiftly go bust, and then there's no New York Times and no London Times.
Yeah, they're going to need to either, one, be able to have very stripped down versions of banner advertising as something that gets put into a publication. And your instance of not being able to fill out forms and things like that, I think you create a stripped down version that has a link that then brings you back to a slower loading page where you can engage as far as, you know, e-commerce goes. That would be, you know, if I was implementing it and I haven't had to yet, that would be the way that I'd look at it, to possibly do it that way. Yeah, get the central pages, your informational pages, into the AMP so that they rank well, but have a link there where you can take them off to another page. It may take a little longer to load, but the people realize that I want this item, I want to buy it, so I'm willing to wait a little while while the page generates.
Yeah, and for companies that are publishing companies, AMP does have an advantage. Even though it limits the advertising, it's still getting the impression, as it's still getting the word out there, building up the addiction, so to speak. And you know, if I had many clients in that space at the moment, I suppose I would be pushing them to use AMP. But for e-commerce, no, it's got too few advantages to the hassle of putting it in. It just doesn't offer anything at the moment.
Well, that's it. You know, I mean, that's the only place I even tell anyone to start looking at it is if they're doing a migration, is if they're doing a redevelopment, and you know, other than that, no. You know, everyone else I've just told, you know, continue on as you are. But And like you're saying, it's mostly informational stuff at this point, so e-commerce definitely not something. I'm busy trying to get someone to go over HTTPS with these large corporate sites and crap like that. I got enough resistance on that I don't really care about AMP for e-com right now. Nope.
It's one of those things that priority just pushes it so far down the list. Whatever time you spend thinking about how to implement AMP, if you've got a commerce site, would be better spent working on conversions, or better spent working on your actual rankings. AMP is just of low value, and the time you would spend working it out at the moment really isn't justified compared to other things you could do with that time. Unless, of course, everything else in your SEO, in your website is absolutely perfect, great, then worry about AMP.
Well, we went from mobile version site to responsive designs, now AMP, so constantly new.
But the big thing about it is the fact that now, more than 50% of searches are being done with mobile devices. So, I mean, what I haven't seen is the breakdown of how that is as far as e-commerce engagement goes. I don't think the number is as high as just straight up informational paging, searches and things like that. I think there's still a lot more e-commerce searches that are done from laptops or tablets versus your phone. You're not trying to buy clothing or electronics while you're sitting on your phone, or at least not to the percentage that would do it with the other one.
Well, I'm not even sure if it's searches being done. Terry and I was talking about this last week, a couple of weeks ago, and so I went into some of the e-commerce sites that I have access to in analytics, and the searches were fairly close. You know what I mean? It was in the 48 to 52 sort of percentage, range. But the thing is the revenues were totally coming from the desktop. It didn't bear out on this e-commerce site. It wasn't bearing out that search, even though searches were equal, the actual revenues were being generated from people on the desktop. So, again, maybe they're finding you on mobile, and again, it depends on the product. It's these aren't, But in the cases I looked at, it was desktop was still getting more actual purchases and things of that nature, over the the mobile side of things. So.
I agree. I haven't seen a site yet that got more conversions on mobile than by desktop, and that's because I think people who are doing any shopping in mobile are looking for the store or on the way to the store or are already in the store, so they're not purchasing on the net, buying it directly from the store. It does, and same with if I was going to buy something and I was sitting somewhere, if a lot of things I would prefer to see it on a desktop where you can get bigger pictures, save pictures more easily, all kinds of stuff.
Mobile is important, and it's growing, and it's only going to carry on growing. Things are expensive for the young right now, and trying to set up their first home, rents are ridiculous, the problems that they've got are ridiculous, so I think more and more of them are opting out of telecom contracts. No matter what, so unless there's free fibre in an area, many of these people are now using mobile as their first port of call, because that's the one that they're going to need above all. And if they can only afford one, they're going for mobile. And it does most things. So I certainly say you have to adopt mobile. More and more people are, just using not just their smartphones, but their tablets and stuff as well.
But you have to be responsive. You have to be responsive to really rank on Google anyhow. So you're already set up for mobile. Like beyond responsive, I haven't really seen any reason to go beyond that for any website as far as mobile goes.
AMP is different. Think of it as more like a mixture of mobile friendliness and a CDN. You know, it's about serving your pages lightning fast, and it does that. And if you're a content network, that's important. If you're not, at the moment, AMP just doesn't offer enough benefits for most businesses for the limitations that it carries. For Google, it's got huge advantages because it seriously limits the amount of JavaScript you can use, the amount of tricks and things that you could put into a page, your ability to do any sort of cloaking, stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much gone. AMP really doesn't leave much leeway for misuse. So Google, yeah, I can understand completely why they want to push this. But I think they're actually pushing it so hard that, to an extent, the SEOs are rejecting it because we don't like being pushed that way for something that doesn't do enough for us.
Well, and also too many things that they've said would give you a boost. No one's seeing.
Like what, Terry? Speeding up your site? HTTPS?
Yeah. Speeding up your site. The only one that really seemed to affect was the mobile-friendly one. But I think most people saw, well, there's a good reason to do that beyond just Google. So, yeah, they did that. But, you know, I just like authorship, right? People don't want to throw that muck and gunk into their site to satisfy Google. It's a Google agenda. No one really sees it.
Well,
I think we've beaten AMP to death. What's next?
yeah. Let me see here. This will be fucking interesting. All right. Well, I see. We'll start with something simple. Jen was saying today that description lengths have changed.
Yeah.
So, curious if that really means much other than display. Hard to say. But yeah, I guess, you know, still click-through rate-wise and stuff like that, I still see this being useful.
They've pretty much gone back to where they were a few years ago. They've widened the area that's available. They've widened the box in which results appear, which gives both, you know, the organic listings and pay-per-click a little bit more space, a little bit more ability to have longer titles and descriptions. Of course, most of us will probably say, yeah, I think that was probably more for the AdSense side than AdWords side than the organic, but it's a good thing. Whether it will stick or not, that's that's the $64,000 question.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it looks like the descriptions don't actually have more characters. They're just more characters per line, meaning, you know, they're thinning them out. So I'd be more interested if I had more space to use outside of rich snippets, obviously.
Well, then the other thing is this a test that's going to last for 3 or 4 weeks and then get reversed again?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, certainly. I would be running out and saying, "Let's go change all our titles right about now." No.
What I would be checking is the width of the content area where the SERP is. If that has expanded, I would say it's going to stay. If it's still the same, I'd say it could change. But I think what they're doing is just maintaining the same margin, and they maybe widened it. No,
it got bigger. Yeah, that change actually came about. That was the first thing people noticed, and it gained a significant number of pixels, something like 50.
Oh, is that after they removed the ads, Ammon, on the right-hand side? Oh, okay. So it makes sense that they could have wider and longer titles and descriptions now.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, for mobile, it's, you know, all going to be one column anyway, and the screen's no wider than it was. So it's probably exactly the same for mobile users.
Agreed.
I'll just wait for Yoast to implement it in his WordPress SEO, and that's what I'll use.
Yeah, again, so yeah, it looks like you're getting more room with the title, but certainly not more characters for your description. So. They're just spinning it out so much.
The other thing is Google has always indexed more characters than they actually display on page. When they displayed 65 characters, my test showed that they actually index about 80 to 85 characters. Dave Naylor did a test and found similar results.
Well, and some people are asking if this changes any kind of weighting, and I'm going to assume the answer to that's yes, but, you know, hard to say, but...
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah, because internally, they were already weighting 80 to 85 characters.
No, this
I think just strictly display, and
Yeah.
if you can go in and modify them and add a little bit of benefit to it, but a reversal won't hurt you. You know, you don't want to go in and rework these things. I just don't see it as being worth any effort. You know, if you haven't already got your descriptions and titles to a point where they're enticing people to click through, then you've kind of been dropping the ball anyway.
The main thing is you've got at least 10 more characters to play with. If you can't think of a use for 10 characters that can increase the click-throughs you get in, maybe you're in the wrong profession.
Yep, agreed there for sure.
What else we got?
Free beer fits in that 10 character thing. I think just add free beer to the title of everything. That'll increase your click-through rates.
Well, figure that's 1 to 2 more keywords that you can put in your title that are weighted, for sure, and shown.
There you go. We shall, from now on, refer to this as the free beer update.
All right, apparently in other news, let's see, we've got sitemap index counts dropping across Search Console reports. I saw this a couple places, actually, on a day or so. They also had to update the Search Console, so who knows. I haven't even checked, to be honest.
This is part of a big overhaul. Lots of little bits and pieces have changed in analytics and reporting. There's a lot more data in some respects. It does a lot more in app reporting. If you've got clients who use apps extensively, this can make some big old changes. For the rest of us, it's mostly minor, but added to the increases in the user explorer stuff that's just come in as well, it shows there's some significant moves going on in analytics at the moment. A lot of different things seem to all be coming through at the same time.
The interesting thing is, you've got, if you do like a site semicolon search, and you can see there where there's, say, 1,000 pages, but inside of Search Console, they only have 500. And the bigger the site, obviously, the bigger that number becomes. But you see, I'm seeing that quite a bit, where what they actually have, and so what they're not counting, what they used to call the supplemental in the index number inside of the Search Console. I just don't quite understand that difference.
Apparently, with the stuff with the Search Console this week, I haven't even been in there since I read this morning, but I don't think it's rolled out completely everywhere yet, so being a Canadian, who knows? I might not have it yet. So let's see. Find landing pages that are attracting many users through Google Organic Search. And where those users are not engaging the website. Blah, blah, blah. Find landing pages that have high site engagement and are not success tracking users from Google Organic. Learn which queries are ranking well for organic landing pages. And segment organic performance by device category, blah, 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 in the new devices report. Well, there you go. You got a new devices report. Always handy. So anyways, yeah, apparently it's some new Search Console data that's being integrated into Google Analytics.
My feeling is that most of it, apart from the user data stuff, which unfortunately is kind of by default at an individual level, and some of the people that want to use it are pretty much going to have to export all that data into something else before they can actually get anything meaningful from it. Especially if you've got 50,000 visitors a week or something like that. You can't go through them all one by one. A lot of it is stuff that, if you're serious about analytics, you've been doing the rest of it for a long time. And if you're not, then you probably don't notice that Google's just added it.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of that stuff, you know, we were finding with custom reports, filters, and things of that nature anyways. So, yeah, you just had to dig for things a little harder. But this is, yeah, this one's apparently an integration from Search Console, so I don't know. Again, I haven't been in there poking around this morning, so. We'll have to see as usual. My favorite, of course, was here. How we fought spam, 2015.
Yeah, obviously Twitter was full of this on the day.
Love these trends. Huge number of websites were hacked. And then the next one is, we saw an increase in the number of sites with thin, low-quality content. Hey, maybe those two are connected, huh? Yeah. Hacked sites getting, you know, thin content. Who would have thought that?
Oh, I don't know. I think some of the sites that end up getting hacked end up with more content.
Yeah, probably thin,
Might only
though.
be a page of links, but it's more content.
It's thinner, though, I'm betting you. There's a 180% increase. Yeah, I saw a lot more hacked sites over the last year. Hey, Terry, you've been having fun with that lately yourself, even so.
Yeah. Anybody with Revolution sliders should be paying very special attention.
I've seen an increase in a kind of site recently that it looks like a blog, but all it's doing is entering a Twitter feed as blog posts. So they're tweets. They're 140 characters. I've seen a lot of those. Now, I would think that is a large part of the increase in thin content that Google is seeing. I mean, there is nothing to it.
Yeah.
For sure.
That might be a little thin.
Same with a lot of people are adding Instagram feeds into their site.
Yeah.
There's this attitude, and it's something, you know, I've been talking about elsewhere, but there is this incessant pressure that, you know, you must post often, you must post regularly. You know, we've gone from one great article a week on many sources to 3 to 5 meh ones a day, and unfortunately I think that's bled through even more, so that we end up with things like these people just fire hosing Twitter feeds and Instagram feeds. And
well, come on, as soon as everyone stopped doing SEO, they went and became content marketers, didn't they? So instead of spamming links now, they spam blog posts.
They're not even doing content marketing. I mean, content marketing.
No, but that's the mantra.
The important word is marketing. Instead, they're doing content publishing.
Nah, don't give them that much credit.
Scraping.
Content spamming is more like it.
Yeah, it's just
well, Terry, what all you got's a hammer.
Right.
But it's like some of these, you know, made for cable channels that it seems like any program idea will get on the air. There's a lot of content that's going the same sort of way. Now, when you've got advertisers, that can sometimes make sense. But guess what? Those advertisers will wake up. They will wake up to the fact that they're paying, you know, a significant amount and not getting any eyeballs.
The other part of it is we think of everything in terms of marketing, whereas the vast majority of millennials that are, you know, bigger users of the internet than generations before, they like that crap. They, you go on a Facebook and both my kids I follow, and they're sharing just this pure garbage. But and you look at it, and all of a sudden it's got 20, 30, 40,000 shares that are being passed around by all their buddies, and then the bigger circle. So there's that whole area of content that's being created constantly. So that's where the people are feeding in their Instagram to some blog that they throw up, or so there is a lot of that just puerile content that's out there that has nothing whatsoever to do with marketing, but which gets a fair amount of traffic.
Yeah, there's some of it, but then again, 20,000 shares. You want 20,000 shares? Go on Fiverr for half an hour.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's like, but it's like the craze 10 years ago of cat videos and cat pictures, which aren't quite as prevalent as they used to be. It's just it's the reason why BuzzFeed and all those sort of sites have got the traffic numbers they do. It's because they're catering to that quality of viewer of people that just want to come in and turn their brains off and look at stuff that makes them actually stupider after they've watched it.
That explains YouTube.
Well, I thought you were about to say that explains you, Frank. I was like, wait, where are we going here?
People give YouTube a lot of criticism. I was hearing it today because everyone's been talking about, of course, Amazon launching its rival. But yeah, there's a lot of cat videos and there's a lot of rubbish on YouTube. It's user generated. But there's also a lot of fantastic in-depth tutorials. You want to learn how to use a drawing program or how to draw from scratch, go on YouTube. You will find the best education there. It will be anything you will find in writing on traditional websites. You want to learn carpentry.
No, you were saying this, I don't know if it was here at Bogus where you and I got talking about it, but I remember you saying this a while back, but my kids literally will use that before Google. You know what I mean? If they're on YouTube, they will literally, the same thing they put into Google, they'll put in there because they know they're going to get a visual or an entertaining answer or whatever, you know what I mean? And just like you're saying, especially how-to stuff and things of that nature, yeah, they'll use it as much or more often, especially if they've got the tab open and they're there already. They'll use it as much as they do anything else to search things. So
it's crazy, like talking to some of these new kids that they're like in their first and second year of college and they're learning business, like something computer related. They're coming to us as interns and I'm training them in Right Tag, and I'm like asking them, so what are some blogs that you especially like? And they're like, I don't really read blogs like that. I watch YouTube. I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, so that's gonna be step one, is we're gonna want to try and find some experts in your field that you can follow what they have to say, because that is an important element here with marketing. But like just that has to be explained, like blows my mind.
We're kind of following that trend ourselves. I mean, Dave, Terry, you've been podcasting for a number of years, and no matter what, it's bound to have in some ways decreased the amount of time you're spending on writing articles because you get to vent it another way. I know that.
Well, we started doing a podcast 6 years ago, and Terry hasn't written since. No, he has. Pretty much. Terry, as soon as we started doing, Terry was like, "Well, this is perfect. Great. I don't have to be writing anymore."
Bill still writes extensively, but I really don't post very much these days. It's just so much quicker for me to generate deep and useful content through video than it is to write it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a shift.
That's why I like the services that like do the transcripts. Like I think that's awesome. Like when you can provide both, that's really helpful.
Well, yeah, because when I'm writing something, I'll spend more time thinking about it all. You know what I mean? And again, by the time I tend over, since I've been writing for 10 years or whatever, that I'll kind of block out where I want to go, then I'll write it, and then I'll go back and start at the beginning again and think my way through it after, verbal diarrhea, spit out a bunch of stuff. So, it is different. When I'm doing this kind of live stuff, it's usually more off the cuff, more relaxed and whatever. When I'm writing, it's more me just thinking things up and, working them out in my head till I get it to where I want it and go, okay, well, now I think half the time I don't even know what I'm going to say when I start. So. Which is kind of like these things. Oh, what else do I have going on? Oh, here's a interesting concept. Since we've been talking about voice search and mobile lately, yeah. What about analytics? Like, even going beyond this length of query stuff, I started thinking, what happens with conversational search, right? Where they're starting, okay, Google task, and they say, and they work their way through a search task. What does that do to keywords? Not even for keywords for us, but even for Google itself. Like when they're trying to look at search quality data. How do you start to track conversational and voice search, and what merit do you give it if it's search quality for Google or if it's for us? I think that's going to convolute things even more. Like you thought, not provided was bad. I'm thinking voice search is going to make a real interesting landscape out of this.
Yeah, and obviously they're going to be doing some of the same things, but instead of multiple clicks, it's looking at the number of refinements that they need to make, the number of follow-up searches. It's certainly going to be interesting to see how it shakes up. But of course, it's still so new that I expect that the measurements they're using at the moment will change quickly and often for the next couple of years.
So yeah, let's see, John's saying here, Mr. Mueller, I think some of them might be tricky because in voice queries tend to be more long form. They're more like sentences and real questions, and sometimes those exact queries don't get used that often. Mm-hmm. So we might be filtering them out in Search Console. Yeah, I think that's going to be a hell of a tricky thing to do.
Again,
listen to somebody.
We keep saying that the big change in SEO of the past couple of years and looking forward is intent. Intent is more important than words, and I think voice search only amplifies that and means that the search engines are going to be forced to look much more at the intention, at encapsulating what somebody wants, regardless of the actual words they use.
Well, wouldn't that be a product of better context anyhow?
Better what? Sorry.
Context. I don't know where the echo is coming from. Oh,
yeah, just Frank. You got it. No worries.
Yeah. No, what I was saying is that could be because of the rank brain trying to fix the context of the search, right?
Yeah, I just wasn't going there.
Well, the other thing is too, Dave, like we talked about the vectoring. By vectoring those voice queries, they can condense them considerably, and at least for some portion of their development, they can make those a lot more manageable.
But I could see it going wrong because now you got to convert that voice. You got to translate that voice into words before you can even start any kind of vectoring process, right? So. Yeah. And if rank brain is, as they say, not running real time, I don't think those two meet up on because once again he's saying this is going to be a lot of unique queries, longer form queries, things of that nature. Now, if you don't have rank brain running real time, that's a lot of unique phrases that aren't going to, even if it gets translated properly, that aren't going to be there until the next time you roll it. So again, yeah, obviously at some point when they ever get this whole vector thing going real time, I could see that working out, but right now, I bet you it's a bit of a muddled mess, as you and I have seen playing around with the Android phone, right? So,
yeah.
Or just doing voice queries and things of that nature,
The other thing is it's the stop words as well. I think, with a voice query, if you're going to get it more accurate, they're going to have to include what they used to use as stop words, which will create a whole, change to how they're, filtering.
Oh, I think that would be on all searches. That's the case. that
So
they're
yeah,
not.
you get back to query classification. It just seems like so many problems, so much to go because then you got accents and you got everything else.
Yeah.
So and look at their translation as it is. I saw something that I thought was quite funny, and I want to try this. Is Terry, they went to a page, right? Then told Google to translate the page. They copied the translation, then put it back into Google Translate and told them to translate it back. Not so good. Didn't work out so well. So like take it from English to Chinese or whatever, copy the Chinese, put that and tell them to send it back into English. Yeah, no, not really. They were actually doing it with the lyrics of one of the songs from an animated movie, Frost or something, I think it was. And so yeah, the lyrics, they took the lyrics, stuffed it into Google Translate, then translated it back to English, and it was just like, and then they sang it over the video, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I used to have some translated discussions with people, and you see that in the emails when they're emailing you back.
Yeah, it was Frost. That's what it was, Eamon. Yeah.
Frozen?
You could find it on YouTube somewhere, but I think if you search like Google Translate and Frost, you'll find it. It's pretty funny.
I've got a feeling it's Frozen, but yeah.
Frozen, that's what it is. See, what do I know? My kids are older than that now.
Kids, you really
No, mine are teenagers now. They don't watch that stuff, and they miss that whole thing. I grew up in the era of Teletubbies and Barney and stuff. So Dora the Explorer. So yeah, I'm not down with the new stuff.
Don't pretend you were a kid when Teletubbies was around.
Not me, my kids. I'm saying
your
when my
kids.
kids. No, what the fuck, dude? I wish.
Yeah,
That's why I have a Lala.
You know, we talked
I only look this old. I'm actually 20. I just look this old because I work in Google Forensics. So.
The little, we just need your face as the little baby in the sun.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a thing to try and figure this out, and how analytics is going to work after that. Who knows?
Well,
So we have a generation. We have a whole generation now that's used to the not provided, don't we, in this industry? The good old days when we had all the keywords.
And keyword research is still a lot harder today than it used to be at all accurate. There's plenty of ways of getting inaccurate data, and there's 1,000 articles telling you how to do it and telling you it's great. But yeah.
I've switched over to simple keyword data. How do we make our money?
Well, also you have people now that are checking for terms that so much that a term will look like it's getting queried a lot, and it's other people doing search queries for positions.
Right. That's why, like, it seems to make sense to me, at least, like, that they weight, like, the natural queries. Like, maybe I'm not using the right terminology. That they'd be, like, more important rather than just single term search, right?
I think you have to prioritize differently. Like when I first started doing keyword research, anything up to 25 I would work with, but now it's probably much higher, considerably higher than it was back then.
Just for Terry. Here we go.
Oh, this is
well, no, you were just talking about Google and their whole putting weighting factors on mobile. So apparently back in March, I kind of missed this one. Apparently now they're doing they had a second mobile update just for Terry there somewhere. I think Frank, you shared that we were talking about this today. I don't remember, or yesterday. Yeah, so just for you, Terry. We came up in the dojo chat room. So yeah, it's a higher weighting now. Okay, so just remember that at all times.
Apparently, they've made some changes to the actual, like I said, the mobile-friendly tool. If I
Yeah, well,
notice,
they're also saying, they're also saying they've announced that in May, meaning somewhere around now, they'll start rolling out an update to the mobile search results that increases the effect of the ranking signal. So, Terry, it's going from really, really small to nothing to slightly annoying, not really anything.
Yeah,
but it's an increase.
In the Google Search Console, you can get a report that basically shows you the mobile and desktop traffic for a keyword. I found that to be very interesting because stuff that ranked really well on desktop wasn't even showing up in mobile. And I couldn't put a finger on why. Like, what was on the page that it would rank so poorly.
Yeah, again, I just wondered the degree of mobile friendliness that they're interested in. Is it load speeds, which is obviously something given the way they go with AMP? Obviously, how it displays, though. You know what I mean? Is it truly a good mobile version of your site?
One of the major ones that they're concerned with is the usability, the accessibility to finger control. How easy is it to navigate and to achieve those objectives? Because as we know from the Reuters guidelines, achieving the objective is how they measure the success or not of the thing. And there's still a lot of people who, although they've got responsive sites, the links are very fiddly when somebody's using, you know,
yeah, and so many people just don't even check. Like I've had, redevelopments lately where that kind of thing comes up, and they're like, "Well, it's mobile friendly, don't worry about it." And we'll go there on an actual phone, and then go, "Have you bothered to look at this piece of junk?" It's like, "Well, no, I haven't looked in a while. My designer developer told me it was, It's like, okay, so you haven't even been there recently,
Yeah, that's a thing.
Go get your test account, go there, you'd set it up in the back end and go do a purchase and work your way through your site and see what happens.
I found even when Google said that it was totally friendly, that when you actually looked in a phone, some links were not going to work because too small. That's a problem with text links on mobile. Is if you're using one word, quite often it's not going to work.
And yeah, the mobile testing and search console is pretty handy. It'll show you a fair amount of that stuff. But again, I don't think anything replaces actually going there and trying to navigate that site, try to make a purchase, try to do everything. It's the old chicken and egg thing. Yeah, we're talking right now that the couple of clients that sure they're getting more purchases on desktop, but how usable is that entire checkout process? What kind of dropped carts are they getting on that mobile versus the desktop, et cetera, right?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be real interesting to see. Or people who were on mobile got to the product page and then left, but came back and on a desktop and finished.
Right. So look at the exit pages. Look at the exit pages for your mobile and your desktop. Then look at your drop carts as well for mobile and desktop. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'll have to actually look into that more. Yeah, I think that's, again, if you don't have a friendly mobile site, it's, as usual, who cares about Google? You're losing money, so.
Right.
Well, for example, in the auto space, they've got it down to where they're saying that it's at a minimum of 23 searches, or engagements with the web before a purchase is involved. But then, obviously, if you're talking about groceries, that may be, one and done. So, I mean, you got to look at it in terms of the industry and where they are, and maybe they start doing their searches for a car on their mobile device while they're sitting somewhere, and et cetera. So it all pivots around the industry and what you're buying.
Well, I've got to jump out at this stage.
All right, man. Pleasure,
I shall no doubt see you another week.
Yes, it was a slow week and technical difficulties killed me.
That's like one of the times when I was in with John, Webmaster Central or whatever, like, you know, the show. We were given that during that. I don't know if you guys have already read it.
What's that?
But giving like responsive design tips.
Where is it? Oh, I have to look at it.
The other interesting thing this week, or at least it was sometime in the last 7 to 10 days, is they were also testing the length of the page search results. You know, the number of characters. Was that in the last 10 days, or am I just blurring this into everything else that happened this week?
Not sure. Is that that media post one you shared, or?
Yeah, because I mean they're actually extending the number of characters. You know, that the headline was normally 25. If you brought it over, sometimes it was a little bit longer. But now they were actually running 2 lines together. So the blur part between what's the differentiation between paid and organic becomes a little more difficult when they look the same length. Apart from the little yellow ad box that most people seem to be blind to, because some report recently said that 50% of people can't tell the difference.
Wait, Google has organic results still? Oh, okay. Oh, it's after all that scrolling you have to do, right? Yeah. Yeah, some of them are ridiculous now.
That document looks pretty good, Kristen.
Yeah, I'm glad that I can
When when I got the not friendly, most of the stuff that I had to change was on that list. Except for I didn't figure, I had to go and ask someone who knows a lot about CSS the problem with using fixed widths. I didn't realize that you should be using max width and height rather than using hard pixel values, percentage.
Or you can go variable, just do variable widths with percentage.
Yeah. Can't have fixed widths, that's all.
Right.
Another interesting, I saw this, I just put it in from a search engine land, and though it applies to, they're using the application for AdWords about being able to pull in Google Map traffic data for providing information. There's got to be some application that you can use that for optimizing for just straight organic results as well. Even if you're doing A/B testing of what's there as far as information on a landing page that's already ranking. I like people that come up with clever things. It's a script that you can use to find out that information. You can engage it with your AdWords, but you got to be able to use that information just purely of people being stuck in traffic that the passengers are sitting there doing searches for things to get some sort of lift. You got 10 extra characters. Pity stuck in traffic, too many characters.
Yeah, that looks neat, eh? Yeah, it's worth playing with it, I think. Why not? Just for the fun of it. But otherwise, I don't know. Slow news week, but maybe I'm just working too much. Oh. Well, the big news this week is that Frank's getting a piercing. Frank's getting his hair dyed. Yep. Maybe some Botox, Frank.
Yeah. Maybe an eye lift or something. The bags under my eyes are starting to weigh me down. I was mentioning to David that I was thinking of maybe suing one of these agencies that I've been to for age discrimination, because went in twice for 2 interviews. They were impressed with what I knew, said that they were postponing, and then a couple of days ago I saw they're posting for the job again and hadn't reached out to me and said anything. So it's like, okay, so am I too old for the job? Are you looking for someone younger? We didn't really discuss money, so what was the determination? I've definitely got the skill set for what you need. And I do happen to have a few lawyers in the family that, like, okay, here you go. Just write this up for me. I'll deliver it to the courthouse. Could be my new way of making money right now. Okay, you don't want to hire, because I saw something a few months ago where they're saying that the tech industry hires predominantly young people. So maybe I could just start throwing my resume in. If they don't hire me, I just sue them for age discrimination. That's how I make my money, instead of actually going to the job and doing the work. What do you think, Bill? Could I get away with that?
Yeah, well, Bill will help represent you. And then we'll tack on our patent trolling business to go with yours. Could be how we make money now. Forget it.
Exactly. I mean,
At Texas, get involved in patent trolling.
Yeah, isn't that the capital of it, Texas? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll move to San Francisco, throw my resume out at all the major tech companies. They don't hire me. 2 weeks later, in goes a lawsuit for age discrimination. I got about 10 or 20 companies that I'm suing, and then I'll settle for $50K each, and then retire on the $1 million.
Wouldn't they have to say something to you? It's not age discrimination. Just because they don't hire you, they can give any reason.
What's the accent?
Yeah. We don't like Australian. That's the other thing. I think I'm going to stop using Aussie Webmaster as my Gmail, as my mail. Because but every single, this is really something that I'd never seen before. Every single job application now has asked you, do you need citizenship or sponsorship or all that sort of thing. They go through that. Then they go through what race are you. They ask you if you're disabled, and they ask you if you're a protected veteran. So there's got to be a lot of government crap that goes into they're trying to protect themselves. So I think, if I slide in with the age thing, maybe they'll just give me $5,000 and tell me to piss off.
In the United States, it would be people graduating that are in the country on one type of visa, and in order to work, they need another type of visa, I believe.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. But I mean, it's so widespread that any job application, and I've been throwing in 5 of them a day minimum, they all have this standardized form now that says, asked if I'm disabled, asked if I'm a veteran, asked if I need, am I a citizen, and do I need sponsorship? They're standard on every job app.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of it is just because, Frank, that like you say, the government has made things more difficult, and they're protecting themselves. But there's also some things like, for instance, if you're disabled or if you're a vet, a lot of, especially larger companies, they can get certain benefits by giving you preference. So if you're a disabled vet, or if you're just disabled, they actually get some benefit by hiring you over someone who doesn't fit that demographic.
Okay. So maybe I'll try to do something to disable myself.
So you need to present yourself as a 72-year-old transvestite, with, Muslim. Find a half a dozen. One of them is bound to stick to the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and if they ask you how many Justin Bieber...
Whenever I was looking for a job at an agency, I didn't finally get a job until I just told them up front what I would work for. Because they start looking around, they do a search on your name, see where you've been, what you've done, how many people know you, and automatically think you're out of their price range.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the age thing's tough. If they ask you how many Justin Bieber CDs you own, well, you should be good to help.
Also,
Oh,
I'm not so sure that there's as much work in agencies as there used to be, because there's so many people that don't use agencies. Now they're doing it in-house. So I think agencies aren't as hot for talent as they were in the past. I may be wrong, but that's kind of...
Well, I mean, New York, where all the agencies are, I mean, I've literally been to 5 different agencies, and half those agencies are, you know, they're the big 5, as it were, and each one of them has 20 different companies. I lost one job because my daughter worked for one of the subsidiaries. Oh my.
And we already hit the hour. Quick.
Where's Dave?
So did anyone buy tickets to Old Cella? That the concert series that's towards the end of, I think it's in October, with Dylan, the Stones, the Who.
Oh, Coachella?
Well, no, it's not Coachella. It's at the same place, and it's got a different name, but everyone's calling it Old Cella because all of the bands are like from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Apparently, all the tickets sold out in an hour or two. There were lines at wherever you could get them.
I don't know if concerts are anything like they were in my younger days when I used to go to a lot of them. I doubt I'd survive one. Okay. That's an awful lot of partying in a very short period of time.
Last weekend.
You nod your head, Terry.
Bill, where's this tagging done anyways? What is it? Local source tag, okay. Is this schema or what is this? I don't do local tagging, so I have no idea.
It didn't look like it was a schema tag. Just meta tag.
Really? That's neat. Tagging aspect is automated. Google said they automatically identify a local source tag of a story based on looking at where the publisher has written about in the past and comparing that to the story location. The local source tag is now live across Google News, blah, blah, blah. So it looks like it's actually on the Google side of things. Seems to be. But yeah, I'm not sure this is something you can actually do yourself.
Yeah, the page that it refers to, the news help, is pretty interesting. I've never read this before.
That was search engine land?
Yeah, here, I'll give you the link. Well, Bill had it up above, but whatever. There it is
The
again.
article, they don't believe in adding comments in articles, so you can't ask questions, and you can't leave things. It's like, really, you're going to answer a question about your article? I don't think so.
I think everyone's just tired of being spammed in the comment section.
Right, it makes the site much less useful.
And the fact that they don't want to show that they, you know, if it's open to everyone and they get one or two, it just sort of seems like, you know, there isn't a lot of engagement.
Yeah,
that was the one thing you had to
maintain your comments and interact with the public. You know what I mean? I think it's just bad form to turn them off altogether. If you don't like the spam, then deal with it.
No, I agree. That's the one thing you had to give to Moz back in the day, was they really worked the comments. They engaged with everyone. You know, they had Jane and Rebecca there flirting a little or whatever. But engaging the people, and you know, so it became almost like a little social gathering where, you know, things ran off of the topic of whatever the conversation was pretty quickly, but they'd end up with, you know, a few hundred comments to every article that got posted.
And they still have a lot of comments.
Yeah.
This is cute here. There's one of their examples. The Orchard News. And then they put in brackets, AM/PM enabled to load really fast on mobile. Didn't miss a chance to mention that, huh? Very good, good. That's cute. Yeah, it looks like they're actually doing this tagging on their own, apparently, so. For now.
They're tagging.
Well, see what happens. Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I think it's actually Google doing it on their own, from what I could tell.
So what's the story? Google might add local source tags to articles, but you can't?
Yeah, we're excited to share a new local source tag, which is now live across all Google News editions. This new feature brings greater exposure for local news outlets, blah, 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 blah. Local source articles are identified automatically by looking at where the publisher has written about in the past and comparing that to the story location. You'll see the tagged articles in the expanded story box on Google News. So yeah, it looks like this is just an internal tagging. It doesn't look like there's anything publishers can do about it.
Well, you might be able to manipulate it by, you know, just
focusing on an area, maybe.
Writing stuff from a certain location.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably good local citations from that as well.
Yeah, doesn't look like tagging
maybe
itself.
Patch will resurrect itself. I always thought that could have been a really, you know, decent news platform. You know, Patch that Tim Armstrong created. Anyone?
No.
Not familiar with that one.
Yeah, it was patch.com, and he actually, part of the deal with AOL, he went to AOL, right? Tim Armstrong?
Right. It looked like they had intended to out a lot more than it ended up being spread out, and they pulled back a lot locations they were going to add it to.
Yeah.
So they were all the places that could. So in that way, it was sort of a failure.
Yeah. See, I actually, when Simon was still there, I approached him and said, "Mate, listen, I would love to get involved and help with that, because what they should have done was created local journalism. They could have done it either at the college level or the high school level for each individual community, and really made it a teaching environment, and then raise above it. From there, you have, you know, the statewide, where you have an editor there. Then you have the national. Then you have the global, and it's a matter of the real estate that was in each of the little townships versions. You could have had, okay, you get X amount of space to have your local stuff. You get X percentage of the advertising revenue that comes through your volume. It was all.
What I'm saying,
yeah.
What I'm saying is that appears to have been the plan pulled back. They canceled out on the widespread distribution of that.
Yeah, Tim Armstrong never got to he never put enough time into it, but it was part of the deal when he went over to AOL that AOL would commit a certain amount of money, budget, to try and get it off the ground. But I think the people they put in charge of it didn't really understand. They went from the top down as opposed from the bottom up. And that's why, there were a lot of people that took over, because I had a couple at one stage, that you could, literally use it to spam through. You could create links, you could create articles specific to, local businesses and areas that you were doing work in. You could write about them and stuff, and they weren't filtering any of that, so it did get a little out of hand. There were a lot of people that were editing large areas, large numbers of small town versions that they were using to generate links, that they were using to generate advertising and stuff for native articles type stuff. Gone but not forgotten.
You sure it's gone? Like, I'm seeing something like...
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, it's out there, and like Bill said, they pulled back a lot. And they only allowed some of them that were getting engagement that, seemed to actually be community-oriented and were being run by whether it was, a mom that was running it or, some organization that was running it. And, they kept those. Obviously, where there was a certain amount of page views involved, so that they, the revenue part of it was worthwhile doing. But they lopped it off because there were some that, weren't updated for 6 months type deal. Mm-hmm. So they just killed all of those and just kept the ones that they saw people actually creating a community, and they're still out there. But it has so much more scope.
Yeah, there's nothing in Arizona. I've got my niche, I think.
There you go. Grab some. It's not a bad little place to, do a little native advertising type thing, and the links will get you something.
All right, well, on that note, I guess I'm going to shut down this live part. See you later, folks. Everyone say goodbye, and we'll continue on.
I know.
Bye.